Wrapping up World War II today. Go to socialstudiesgames.net or YouTube or anywhere if you need more resources. Tons of World War II resources out there. Remember, Japan attacks us, we declare war on Japan, and thus we also have to declare war on their ally, Germany. We go in through North Africa, move up through Italy. Stalin is pushing in from the east, and now we've got to get a spot here. We got to get a foothold in France so that we can get our soldiers into France, so that we can get our soldiers into Germany, so that we can get our resources in here. But if you don't have a foothold, if you don't have a base, you can't move anything in here. If you can't move anything in here, you can't move anything out. So you've got to get into France. That's what we're going to focus on today. D-Day, June 6th, 1944, Operation Overlord. We've got to get in from the western side. Now, how are we going to do it? We have positions in England. We've got soldiers in England. But where do we go from here? Do we go in through Norway, which is less fortified, which is a longer distance, but we can get in through there, but it's much further away, and you're going to have some more problems to deal with there. But also another problem is if you go into Norway, you don't free the French people. You don't liberate the French people by going to Norway. But if you go in and try to liberate the French people, and it's nice because the English Channel is much shorter, but Hitler knows this. Hitler already has all the resources here from the Blitzkrieg. This is well fortified. This is well defended. You are going into the belly of the beast. It is certain madness. It is certain doom. It is certain death. Only a crazy person would take the hard path, would run into the machine gun fire, and that is the hero's journey that we choose. We go into France. They can't just swim across, can't just walk in, because there's the English Channel, but also it's well fortified. Artillery, machine guns, barbed wire, mines, you name it, is littered across Normandy Beach. It's not going to be easy, so we got to take this stuff out. Once we take it out, then we can send our soldiers in. That's the plan. That's D-Day. That's Operation Overlord. June 6, 1944, you can see our aircraft carriers, the British, the Canadians taking in. This is Normandy Beach. Here are the different beaches that we go into in France: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. June 6, 1944, to show you the magnitude of the operation. Just look at these pictures. Look at that. Look at how many aircraft carriers. Look at the blimps. Look at the soldiers. Look at the jeeps. Look at the cars. This is beyond belief. You can't make this stuff up. It is the magnificence of the American war machine. It is just mind-boggling here. Huge, enormous, and also a large loss of life as well. So we're going to focus here on Omaha Beach. Gold, Juno, Sword, those go pretty well. Utah goes kind of okay. These are fine. And the reason those beaches are fine is because the planes come through and they blow up the machinery. They blow up the artillery. They take out the barbed wire. They take out all the objects in the way. It's easier for these boats to get up right onto the beach, and the soldiers can walk right on. That's the way Gold works. That's the way Juno works for the most part. That's the way the Sword works for the most part. It's easier to get on beach. It's easier to attack the Germans and take the Germans out of their ramparts, to take them out of their fortifications. A lot of the things in your way have been removed from the way because of the overnight bombing. The paratroopers that flew in the night before, it stuck behind enemy lines and took people out. That happens at these beaches. That does not happen at Omaha. During Omaha, we have some problems. Well, the reason is the night before, big storms, bad weather. You might be saying to yourself, well, if there's bad weather, why don't you just delay it? Do it the next day. Do it 2 days from now. It doesn't work that way. Remember, this is an enormous operation. Just look at this. This is an enormous operation. It is planned down to the last I's and T's, cross the I. You know what I'm saying. So you can't just delay it a day. And the reason why you can't just delay it a day is because they have planned this thing based on the phases of the moon. The moon. They need the tides to be at the right level. They need high tide to happen during a certain moment. They need low tide to happen during a certain moment. And if you delay it a day, it all goes wrong. You got to wait 2 more weeks for the tides and the moon to be the way that you need it. So it's now or never. June 6, 1944, or who knows what will happen. So we do it. The problem is at Omaha, the paratroopers get blown around, and so they don't go behind enemy lines in the right way, and they're not able to take out all the artillery, they aren't able to take out all the machinery, they're not able to clear the beaches. The bombing doesn't work the way that it's supposed to do it. And so when we get to Omaha Beach, everything is still there. All the barbed wire is still there. The machine guns are still there. The fortifications are still there. And they also have the added benefit of these large cliffs at Omaha Beach. Making matters worse, in the other beaches, you're able to get right onto the beach. The boats didn't work that way because of the weather, so they're dropping them off and they're having to swim in, dodging bullets. They have to swim in, so you have to dump your equipment and swim in and try to find something on the beach while bullets are flying around and say, well, I need a machine gun. Don't worry about it, because just look to the dead guy next to you. He's got a machine gun. Take his. You need some equipment, just grab it from the guy next to you, because we're all going to die. 2,000 people are dying on this beach all day long. This isn't just a moment. This just isn't a minute. And if you watch Saving Private Ryan, you think, oh, well, that was a tough hour. This is all day long, getting hit, hammered, barrage of machine guns, bombs, missiles flying at you while you were unprepared, trying to get through barbed wire. It's an absolute mess because of the weather. And also, these boats were off target because of the weather pushed them off target. Eventually, they will get a foothold, and they will take over Normandy Beach, and the American allied powers will eventually get a stronghold here, and it's pretty much game over at that point. Saving Private Ryan, if you click on this, or you can find the YouTube clip, watch it. If you don't watch that, fine. Watch National Memorial Day Concert. Please watch National Memorial Day Concert, Charles Durning. Google this on YouTube. Please, please, please. Listen to this man speak. He's a famous character actor, but before he was a famous character actor, he was there. Omaha Beach, June 6, 1944. He gives you a firsthand count. He is a primary source to this event, explaining what it was like. And if you've watched this movie, then you pretty much have heard his speech. But please watch the speech. So, coming from the south, coming from the east, coming from the west, looks like it's all pretty much game over for, actually the Soviet Union will get to Hitler first. And so Hitler will kill himself. This is 1945. Hey, victory in Europe. It's all done. I know I went through that really quick. You want to go through Battle of Bulge, you went through all the specific battles in World War II. They're online. Read them up. May 8th, 1945. That is victory in Europe. Let's see if we can get into Japan. So trace the events of World War II from start to finish. Defend, criticize the use of the atomic bomb. So we've pretty much wrapped up really quickly the European theater. We're going to jump over here to the Pacific theater. Where we left off, remember the blockade. And they attack us after the blockade. And we say we're going to come back eventually. I shall return, and the Bataan Death March. And it's not looking good. I mean, honestly, we are on our heels. Whereas we look at the European theater, other than really the Battle of the Bulge, we're pretty much in control. We are rolling. We are pushing forward in the European theater. Pacific theater, we're getting whooped up pretty good, and it's looking bad. And so we get to, they're about to invade Australia, and that's a no good thing, right? So we will finally stem the tide. We'll finally stop the advance of the Japan Empire, the Japanese Empire, in the Battle of the Coral Sea. Our first big win here after losing a lot in the Pacific theater. This will slow things down. The next big battle in the Pacific theater will be the Battle of Midway. Another movie has been released recently that explains the Battle of Midway. Why is it called Midway? Because it's right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean between Asia and America. Why is this battle big? Because this is where most of our aircraft carriers are. This is where most of our airplanes are. Remember, a lot of our stuff got blown up during Pearl Harbor. That was one of the reasons why, hey, we're struggling in the Pacific, because they blew up a lot of our stuff. And now they're planning, the Japanese, to blow up the rest of our stuff by attacking Midway. And if they take out all of our aircraft carriers, if they take out all of our planes, then there's really nothing left for us to do in the Pacific. There's no way that we can win if we don't have any ships, if we don't have any planes. And not only can we not win, not only can we not advance, they may come for us. So this is a very, very big battle, the Battle of Midway. And we're able to win it because we cheat. And cheating's fine. We steal their codes and we know what's going to happen. We're able to crack their code. There's been a movie made about this called The Imitation Game. There's movies about everything. You don't even need a lot of these World War II PowerPoints. That's why I'm not going very in-depth with the World War II PowerPoints, just trying to hit the facts, because if you really want to get into it, there are so many movies. The Imitation Game talks about the cracking of the code. Once we know the code, we are able to know their advances, and we are able to prepare for this battle. And from there, it's game on. We're coming after you. We win the Battle of Midway. We're strong. We're tough. Let's slowly grind this thing out. In the process of slowly grinding it out, 1942 is going to be called island hopping. We're going to hop from island to island. We're going to win one, move forward, win one, move forward. And you can see we just slowly but surely move through these islands. Battle of Guadalcanal with the Marines. These are some pretty horrific, insane battles, and there's movies been made about this and TV series made about this. The fighting over here, we don't want to compare all the people in Europe had it bad or people in Pacific, but typically the response that you get is the fighting in the Pacific against the Japanese was much worse. The environment was brutal, and the soldiers, the Japanese fighting style was brutal, and this was really, really rough stuff. So Guadalcanal was, I think we call that the Island of Death. New Guinea, up through the Philippines. We eventually, remember, I shall return. We free the Philippines, French Indochina, which would be Vietnam. 1945, we continue to push forward. Iwo Jima, another great movie has been made about this. I think it's translated to Sulphur Island. And the Japanese are brutal. They are ruthless. They are fighting. The closer we get to Japan, the closer we get to the homeland, the motherland, the tougher they get. They do not surrender. They would rather commit suicide, harikiri, seppuku, They take the sword, they slice out their guts and stab themselves. The generals kill themselves. It's ritualistic suicide, which goes back to the samurai days. We are basically fighting an army of samurais that don't just have swords, that have modern weapons, that refuse to quit. Imagine fighting against a country that refuses to quit and will fight to the last man, will fight to the last woman, will fight to the last child. This is unbelievable. We've unprecedented, and that's what we run into Iwo Jima. They won't quit. We have to kill everyone to win this meaningless rock in the ocean. And it is a meaningless rock that stinks like sulfur, has no strategic value, but it's just the next one close. And we are fighting to the last man. And then we do it again at Okinawa. We do it again. And also, we're running to show you how severe and brutal and savage the fighting of the Japanese is. They have kamikazes. So not only are they fighting the last man, they will literally sacrifice their lives flying a plane into your ship. That gives you the idea of what the Americans were up against. That's a tough battle. That's a tough fight to win, even if you're stronger, even if you're faster, even if you have more resources. If you're fighting against someone who will not quit, it is very tough to win that battle, especially when that war and that battle goes on day after day after day. You may be stronger, you may be better, you may be quicker, you may be faster, you may have more guns, more people, more men, but when they won't quit, day after day after day, eventually you start to say, you know what, I just can't do this anymore. And then we do it again at Okinawa. So Hitler's gone. We've already won in Europe by this point. And the American people are saying, look, we already won the war. What's going on in Japan? They won't quit. What's going on? There's too many Americans dying in the Pacific. We need to get this thing over with. But the American people are not behind the war. We already won. Yes, the American people, we beat Hitler. Yeah, but we're still fighting. The people are not behind this war. The soldiers are going every day, grinding against an enemy that will not quit. The public is not behind the war. And the public's not behind the war. Then the government has to do what the public wants. And if the public is being outspoken, like, we're tired of this, guess what the government eventually is going to have to do? Pull out of this war before the job is done. Flags of the Fathers. Not the greatest movie, but it gives you a good idea of the Battle of Iwo Jima, but also the social and political ideas that were going on in America during this time period. People are tired of war. But then we win the Battle of Iwo Jima and we kind of stage this flag raising. There's a lot more to this. Socialstudiesgames.net if you want to find more information about that. But also just watch the movie Flags of Our Fathers or read the book or just do any cursory Google searches to find out what's going on. But when this news comes and this picture is shown and we realize and we remember the war's not over. The American people remember. The people realize, wait a second, the war's not over. There's still Americans giving their lives in the Pacific, fighting every day to secure freedom, to spread democracy, to fight for our way of life. This war is not over. We got to wake up and we got to continue to support it. Who cares if we're tired? If we're tired, who cares? They're tired and they're still fighting. So the least that we can do is say, hey, we're going to keep going to the factories. We're going to keep making the guns and we're not going to quit this war. And we're going to support our government and our country until this thing is over. Battle of Iwo Jima, one of those big turning points there. We'll continue to do it. We'll do the same thing over in Okinawa. And you're like, oh my God, can we just end this thing? Japan, just quit. You're losing. Just give up. And Japan will not quit. They're that kid that won't stop fighting. He just keeps getting up and he keeps getting up. We're like, are you just going to get up for the rest of ever? What's going to happen? If we invade Japan, and like, you guys are fighting like this in Iwo Jima. You guys are fighting like this in Okinawa. What's going to happen when you invade mainland Japan? So the plan, the Manhattan Project, a top secret plan to design the nuclear bomb, which is taking place. This is crazy. This top secret plan that's happening in 10s of 20 different cities. How does that work? Anyway, so Albert Einstein theoretically comes up with an idea to create this bomb of all bombs by splitting atoms. J. Robert Oppenheimer will be the guy who leads the Manhattan Project here in Los Alamos, New Mexico. They design the bomb, they get it working, and then we drop two of them. And then again, a lot more information at socialstudiesgames.net, a lot more information on the internet. There's been tons of movies, TV series. You can explore it all you want. But ultimately, we drop a bomb on Hiroshima, or Hiroshima, as Americans would say, and then the Japanese don't quit. So as we said before, the Japanese don't quit. They didn't quit Okinawa. They didn't quit at Iwo Jima. If we invade the country, they're not going to quit. They're going to fight every man, woman, last children. We're going to have to go into the country and take everybody out. And people will say, nah, yeah, we dropped a nuclear bomb on Hiroshima or Hiroshima, and they didn't quit. It took a second nuclear bomb. Fat man, little boy. It took two atomic bombs. Two atomic bombs. And after the second one, after we've probably killed 200,000 people in a matter of days. I'll repeat that. We've probably, now I might be on the high end, I don't care, 200,000 people, 200,000. Now again, they don't die that day, they die because of the radiation. It took two of them to take the Japanese people to finally surrender. Should we have done that? Should we not have done that? That's for you to decide. The debate is, if we would have done a main invasion of the Japanese island, we would have lost a lot of American lives. Well, so we just killed a bunch of Japanese lives, a lot of innocent lives. Also in this area, the western portion of Japan historically was the Christian portion of Japan. And that's the places that we bomb. We don't bomb the Emperor's City. We don't bomb Tokyo. We bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So, well, there's that. But anyway, you can decide, should we use the time bomb? Yes or no? That's up to you. Again, tons of great movies. Dr. Strangelove. Yeah, we'll talk about this. Oh, no, it's going to play it. So anyway, that's the end. Thanks for joining me, guys.